Man, this next fight's a really interesting one to break down, and the more I looked into it, the more I was like, where do you go with it? Dwight Grant and Sergey Khandozhko. And, it's funny, when you look at a Dwight Grant, you wouldn't realize he was as big of a gamer as he is, man. I went down a rabbit hole trying to look into this boy, and it was like, I'm looking for fight shit, not gaming shit. Anyway, he's now over at Alliance MMA. He originally came through with AKA, if I remember correctly, and we've seen a lot of good things from him. And the one that I love the most is, yeah, the power exists and he's a switch fighter, but the durability. When D-Rod is the only person to finish you via strikes, you're probably doing something right. I will say that there's a few too many close split decision losses. The Francisco Trinaldo one was the last one. And all those close fights just make it a difficult one to pick, right? It doesn't matter who's fighting. But then you take away some of the things that he does well. The durability is weirdly really nice to watch. He looks like he's gassy. He looks like he's tired, and sometimes he does look very tired. But I don't know if Dwight gets a second wind or he just can take a punch like nobody else. And maybe it's a little bit of both. But he does tend to keep himself in the fight. And that's where those split decisions come from. I think he's a good early round fighter, needs to pick his shots a bit better. And then you look at Sergey, right? I think Sergey is an interesting case because he's had 2 canceled bouts since 2019. And the last time we saw him was against one of my mans, Rustam Khabilov. And, taking an L in that fight is not an issue at all. And, going back and rewatching that fight, looking at his corner, Abdulmanap and our boy Makachev, I mean, whew. It was a heavy one, but, you look at the things he does well, the things he doesn't do well. I like the power shots. I don't like the lack of combos. I think that the time that he's spending right now at Extreme Couture is going to help those things. You got to put things together, these wild looping, one-time shots and kicks, they're dying breed, in my opinion, in the UFC. And unless you're a heavyweight generating that kind of power, unfortunately, more often than not, as you get to the top level fighters, they will pick you apart. And I think D-Rod is a great example of just getting, really good when it comes to accuracy and being able to pick you apart. And so in this fight, there's a couple things I do like. I like Dwight Grant's 70% takedown defense and the idea that Sergey has looked gassed in the past when having to deal with a lot of level changing. And so when you look at this fight, it's like if it stays standing, this is truly anyone's game. I do like the level of competition at Dwight Grant's belt. And, the time he spent in the gym with people. Sergey's hitting that stride now. But I think this is one where Dwight Grant not only needs a big W in the UFC, but I think this is a fight where we can see him really keep himself in the fight in a much better way than we have in the past. Before it was like, I can take a punch, I can still breathe, but I'm not winning this fight. Now, as we start to pick our shots, we maybe look for some level changes to get the other guy just as tired. I think that's an opportunity for him to try and surprise here. He has the nose for sticking to the striking game, and I think that's going to be where this is a pick-em from my outside looking in perspective. And right now, I actually want to go with Sergey as the favorite. When I try to guess the lines, it really goes based on tape and just where you see guys standing right now. And it makes sense that Dwight could be a favorite, but I think Sergey's going to garner a bit of attention here. Russian last name, little bit of an unknown, and the tape shows a lot of power, a lot of good striking. But again, I think that if you dig a little deeper and you see the grappling, that might be an area where Dwight Grant can actually exploit a bit. So let's take a look here. We see Sergey as a -150 favorite. We'll see if that's changed. Boom, boom. Pick 'em, baby. This is a pick 'em. And I'm saying that with so much confidence because of the idea that both these guys will likely have the nose to not be, so much about the paths to victory and looking for takedowns to change things up and just get the win. These guys might be your swanging and banging types, and that's where you can see, Sergey came down from a -125 here to about a -120. And Dwight Grant's pretty much been in that pick 'em range throughout the entire time of the week. So I really like that fight from a, what do they say? That's just like a popcorn and sit type of fight. But I'm leaning towards Dwight Grant in this one. But again, man, when you have a pick'em on an opening line this early, you're playing with fire. So yeah, that's going to be a dart throw, and hopefully we get a bunch of other ones right. And if you got to lean on any type of betting there, feel free to drop a comment. I would love to know where you stand on this one, but it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be hella fun as well. So stay tuned for it.